My name is Joseph Frank Lastie Jr. I was born in New Orleans, 1958, at Charity Hospital.
And tell me a little bit about your family. What family were you born into? Tell me about your mother and father.
Basically, I was born into two musical families, the Lastie family and the Desmond family. My father's father is Deacon Frank Lastie. He was a drummer, and he was one of the ones who were responsible for introducing the drums to the church. And also on my mother's side, my mother's father, he played drums in church too. And that's where I get my drumming from. It's in the blood. It had to have been in the blood. You know, two of my grandfathers, both of my grandfathers played drums in church. Wow.
So, what neighborhood were you?
Lower Ninth Ward. Both of them is in the Lower Ninth Ward. It's Israelite Spiritual Church, and my mother's mother, she was a minister too, and it was on Russia Blade Street in the Lower Ninth Ward where their church was.
Okay.
And I remember going back there and seeing my grandfather playing drums in the church. We used to live there. Matter of fact, this particular church, it was a house, and during Hurricane Betsy, that's where we was at it, in Hurricane Betsy.
Right.
We had to vacate in the attic and stuff.
So you stayed here, you and your family were here, like that was a
68, something like that, yeah.
68?
68, yeah.
So you're 10 years old, around about 10 years old.
Right,
Hurricane
exactly.
Betsy, and you didn't leave the neighborhood and stayed in the attic.
We stayed in the attic till rescue came to get us.
Wow.
And we were separated. We definitely were always, I had 4 sisters, and some of them went one place, I went another place, my parents stayed, so we was all separated.
So tell me a little bit more about, before we go back to 1968, tell me a little bit more about your formative years down there. So you are born into a family with like 2 musical traditions.
2 musical traditions, exactly.
Headed directly towards you. So when did you kind of find the drums yourself? Was it
I didn't find the drums found me. My grandmother bought me a set of drums, pearl drums, professional pearl drums. When I was about between 10 and 12 years old, she bought me a set of drums, red pearl drums. I'll never forget them. My father's mother.
Okay.
She bought me a set of pearl drums, and that's when I said, whoa. You know, I got interested, and then my parents bought me a little plate drum set.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you ask your grandmother for these drums, or
no,
was she?
No, she just bought them. No, that's weird. Yeah, she must have seen it in me or something.
Well, tell me a little bit about her, since I mean, she seems to be. If she's the person who bought you your first real set of drums and a set of pearl drums, that's
right.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's not a present you just
get
for like some little kid who doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
It's something that's a really thoughtful, beautiful gift. So can you tell me a little bit more about her and about like why that was so important to her?
She was a very spiritual person. She was affiliated with the church a lot. At my grandfather's church on Benton Street.
Okay.
So that was my father's mother. And she was very quiet. She used to, I don't know if you know anything about Marie Laveau and stuff like that. Well, she was the type of person, excuse me, everybody used to like to come to get spiritual advice. She was that type.
Right.
And even Dr. John Mack, he'll tell you that today. Alice Lastie, her name was Alice Lastie.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, they used to call her Mama. But she used to have people come from all over to get spiritual advices from. So maybe that spiritual advice seen something in me. Yeah.
So this is her house where people would come.
Exactly. In the front part of the house, she had her altar.
Okay.
And I wish I had some pictures. You know, we lost a lot of that in Katrina. A lot. But her altar was in the front of the house. And the candles and the Black Hawks and the...
I imagine as if I've never seen anything like that. Describe that to me. Like, describe.
Well, this Black Hawk is it's a statue. A Black Hawk is like an Indian, Black Hawk Indian. statue, and you pray to it, or you pray about the statue. And whatever you reveal to it, it usually happens.
Okay.
And that's the kind of spiritual advice that she was giving people. And not just, this is weird again, not just my grandmother or my father's mother. My mother's mother was the same way. She used to give spiritual advice to people too. So, yeah, you know, means I'm talking to you now, just like you said, I never talked to you before, but all this coming to me, I said, wait, hold on, both of them did that.
Right.
Both of my grandmothers. Now, see, both my grandmothers were spiritual advisors. Both my grandfather was drummers. Wow.
Yeah. Are you giving any spiritual advice yourself nowadays, or?
Sometime.
Okay.
Sometime I do. I do feel it.
Okay.
I really do.
So tell me a little bit about, like, before Hurricane Betsy. Tell me what it was like. What sort of music were you involved in at all before, before you're 10 years old, right around that? What sort of so you're hearing music in the church?
Exactly. Definitely came first.
Okay.
Church came first.
Okay.
And then the New Orleans rhythm and blues.
So tell me about the music in the church.
The music in the church. It's funny you ask that, because the music that I'm playing now, Preservation Hall and jazz bands and stuff like that, we used to play a lot of that.
Like what?
When the Saints Go Marching in the Sweet By and By, and, you know, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah, Since I Laid My Burden Down. We play those songs. And that's where I first heard a lot of those songs in church. Yeah.
Were you involved in the church musically at all? Like, did you?
Yeah, I was. Yes, I was. I started just before I went to New York. I used to go play in the church with my grandfathers and my uncles.
Okay. You were, what were you doing with them? Were you just, like, doing some basic, some basic drumming?
Yeah, because if you could picture this, what my grandfather used to came up, both of them. We just had the snare drum, the bass drum, and one cymbal. That's it.
That was the setup for the church?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. That was it.
And how much sound could they get out of just that setup?
Oh, lots of sound. Lots of being, not just not the sound now. It's the feeling. Because the people tell you that, when they watch me play, hey, where you getting all that sound at out of those little drums that you play? I said, because it's the feeling and the touch. I had someone told me recently, are those the same cymbals that the other drummers use? Are those the same drum? I said, yeah. He said, well, why you make it sound different? The cymbals and the drums. I said, well, it's the feeling that I, put it into the drums.
So tell me a little bit about how your grandfather played then. Like
he played, if I could get a drumstick.
I'm surprised we don't know.
Yeah, just right in the hole. There we go, right there.
Okay. We'll go to the drums in a little bit.
The standard way of holding the drumsticks is like this. But my grandfather, he used to play like this with his fingertips.
Okay.
And that's both of them used to play like that. And the touch used to be so smooth with the press rolls and stuff like that.
With the what rolls?
Press rolls.
All right.
Yeah, with the press roll. And he used to hold the sticks like this. And today I hold the sticks like this. Matter of fact, I came up holding the sticks like this. I didn't never.
When I first started taking drum lessons, my teacher would always you got to hold it like that.
You got to hold it like
you're
that.
holding it right now.
Right.
I switch up nowadays.
Well, because why? Because that made you comfortable.
Yeah.
In the same way with me, that made me comfortable. I can't, the teacher can't teach certain things. And I tell kids that, and whoever I teach, that whatever you comfortable with and you sound good with, stick with it. Stick with it. Don't let nobody tell you no differently. Because if you do learn how to play like this, you might not have the right feeling and the right touch. And that's where I get that touch from. That, holding the sticks like that. And if you see me playing, it looks like I'm hardly moving. Because I'm not playing with so much with my wrist, I'm playing with so much with my fingers.
Right.
Yeah.
So before you leave for New York, and we'll get to that in a little bit, you've started playing a little bit in the church, or you're kind of at your grandfather's
Right.
elbow, whatever,
Right.
watching him. Tell me, like
My memories of that is like I was sitting right beside the drums, and I used to watch him play the drums. That's in that particular church that I mentioned about, and I used to watch him, with that, his little head was moving and everything, I that just the feeling that he was getting with those drums is out of the drums. It was amazing.
And not only you are playing, but you have uncles. You have other relatives who are playing music.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Now, in that, we had my uncles used to come to the church. One played the trumpet, one played the sax, and my aunt, she played the piano and the organ.
This is on your dad's side of the family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And who are they? Tell me, what are their names?
Melvin Lastie, Walter Lastie, David Lastie, and Betty Ann Lastie. My father was the only one. He tried to play the saxophone, but it didn't work out. Yeah, he was the only brother that didn't play music.
Oh.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, it was weird.
But he didn't dissuade you. Did he encourage you to play music yourself?
Oh, for sure. Okay. Yeah. Because he definitely encouraged me. Yeah, because like I told you, they bought me a little play set of drums where I could just beat up.
Right.
And so he definitely influenced, and my mother.
Okay.
She did too. Mm-hmm.
So how did your aunts, your uncles and your aunt, what sort of influence did they have on you as you started learning how to play?
My uncle Walter, which we call him Papi, he used to play with Fats Domino.
Oh, that must have been very impressive.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. All right, yeah, right. And he used to play with Fats Domino, and he used to go on the road with Fats, and I said, "Ooh, I would like to. Ooh, I can't wait till I start doing that." Right. And he used to come back and tell me how much he would make, like $500 for a week. For a week, $500-$600 for a week. Shit, I thought that was a lot of money, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of money right now.
Huh?
Yeah,
I thought it was a lot of money then.
Oh yeah.
So, but I'm gonna jump forward a little bit now.
Okay.
I was making that a night. So I said, whoa. Right. So I was making that a night.
Right.
At Preservation Hall, I was making that a night. But back then, I thought $600 a week was a lot of money.
Yeah.
For a musician. Then, while he was traveling, he went to Germany, I think it was, and that just stuck with me. It's been sticking with me ever since.
So he'd come back and tell you stories like, oh, in Germany I saw this,
right.
Or just like this is how musicians are received there.
Exactly. And this is how much money you can make playing music. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the main musicians was my Uncle Melvin.
Okay.
He was affiliated with Sonny and Cher. So he was in New York. He was a genius. He was the old top jazz musician.
Right.
My other uncles was a rhythm and blues more, and my Uncle Melvin used to get mad with them because they was playing the rhythm and blues and not the jazz, like the bebop style.
Not the serious stuff.
Yeah. Right. The only time my Uncle Melvin did a rhythm and blues set, I don't know if you remember Barbara George, I Know.
Oh yeah.
That's my Uncle Melvin playing the trumpet. Yeah, that's my Uncle Melvin. That's my Uncle Melvin.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and if you listen at that, I bet you could say you hear kind of like Al Hurt is in it.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like...
he got that influence from my uncle.
It's a very Al Hurt, almost
exactly.
It's that really clean kind of Al Hurt, like that goes on to Herb Alpert, like that kind of every note totally punctuated, like kind of, here it is.
Take his time, bop. Yeah, but he was a bop. But you could hear the influence from him with Al Hurt, because Al Hurt did listen at him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're surrounded by this music. Your grandfathers are both playing drums. Your uncles are playing music. Your aunt is playing music. And around about 68, you have...
And also I learned that my grandfather, my father's father, he was in the Melody Boys' home with Louis Armstrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's a bit of history that I found out, when I was a little boy.
Any stories about that you remember?
He used to sing, and he was in a singing group, and Louis Armstrong was playing the trumpet then.
Oh, so...
Yeah.
My
grandfather was in like what you call them groups, doo-wop, back then.
Yeah, like a vocal group. Like,
yeah.
Was it more like kind of a 40s Mills Brothers sort of thing?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And Louis Armstrong was in Melody Boys' home during the time my grandfather was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1968, Hurricane Betsy rolls through. Was your home, was your family home, was it okay? Was it okay?
It was flooded. It was
flooded.
definitely, that was the end of that.
So is that what precipitated the move to New York? Did you move to New York the next year, 1969?
70.
70.
Yeah, we moved in 70. I think we stayed with relatives during that time. Between 68 and 70, we stayed with relatives.
So what caused your family to move to go up to Queens?
To Long Island?
Yeah, Long
Island. My mother's side of the family, they all was up there.
Okay.
So my mother had like 9 sisters and brothers. So all of them was up in New York on Long Island. So they encouraged my mother and father to move, to sort of better life.
Right.
And they made that move in 1970.
I
didn't want to go.
Yeah, what were your thoughts about it?
I didn't want to go. I really didn't want to go because I still felt the music was in me in New Orleans. And I really didn't want to go.
So what had been happening to you musically for that year in between the hurricane and the moving?
Because, like I said, the church. Yeah, I was involved in the church and stuff, and playing in the church. And with my uncles and them going backwards and forward, and I'm watching them, my Uncle Melvin on TV, and then my uncle, Walter, Papi, he backwards and forward with Fats Domino. I believe this is where, New Orleans is where I should be staying, but you have to go.
You were about 12 years old at the time?
Yeah, exactly.
So, did you think that it was over for you musically when you went to New York?
No.
Okay, so...
No, you can't lose that. Okay. You can't lose that feeling, man. Once you got it, you got it.
So what did you... Okay, describe to me like a 12-year-old kid from the lower 9th Ward. You move up to what town?
Long Island. I started out in Uniondale.
Okay.
On Long Island.
And describe to me how you felt about that. What was that? What went on with that?
I took it in stride. I used to have a little tape, cassette. I don't know if you remember all the cassette. Used to have those, and I used to listen at the New Orleans jazz on that, and I used to try to play behind it. And I also remember the times when I used to go to the library, and they had albums. Then at the library, I had Pete Fountain and Al Hurt. I had checked those albums out and came back home and started listening to, the jazz.
So you were able to keep a connection to New Orleans.
Exactly.
Up there in New York.
Right. And then it was also unbelievable. I used to look at the TV and Preservation Hall was on. Mr. Williams, Mr. Percy and them dancing around the stage, walking around and say, ooh, say, wow, y'all like to do that, go back. But I still had that feeling, and I was able to relate that Preservation Hall was on TV or whatever, however I seen them. I was able to relate to that because I had that feeling. And 20 years later, I'm with Preservation Hall. Wow.
Had you had any sort of perception or idea of Preservation Hall before you moved up to New York?
No.
Okay.
Funny thing, no. I didn't realize that, you know, till later down the line. I said, whoa, that was Preservation Hall that I was really listening to and looking at on TV, you know. And then, can you believe it? I wound up playing with those guys.
Yeah, it's funny. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I wound up playing with them.
Like, had you had much experience with this part of town when you were
On Long Island?
when you were growing up? And
No, let me tell you about that. My father did introduce me to a drummer who gave me lessons. His name was Clyde Harris. Yeah, his name was Clyde Harris, and he used to teach me my rudiments and, you know, and teach me how to read. He was teaching me how to read. So my father did influence me in that way and get me a teacher.
And who was Clyde Harris?
He was a drummer. He was a jazz drummer.
Okay. Did he come out to you?
He definitely came out to our house, and he was teaching me.
So when you were younger, you didn't get down to the Quarter or anything much at all to see anything, or did you?
No, I don't. The only time I remember is driving through the French Quarter.
Right.
But I didn't get a chance to, you know, music.
So, yeah. So this part of the world was not really a part of your world.
Right. But when I was on Long Island, it was a place called Swingo's on Long Island. And it wasn't too far from my aunt's house. And I always wanted to go in there to hear music, because they had it was a jazz club. And I always wanted to go in there. And until today, I never got a chance to go in there. But I did hear a lot of jazz coming out of there. I never got a chance to go in there. You know, I'll never forget it. The name of the place was Swingo's. It was in Freeport, Long Island.
Would you like just kind of hang out outside? Like
yeah. We passed through because it was right around the corner from my aunt's house.
Okay.
And at night, we used to pass there, and I used to hear the jazz.
So what were your parents doing at this time when you moved up there? Like, what were they?
My father was he's working in a factory, and my mother, she went to school.
Okay.
Yeah, she went to school for the surgical technique. She was in Long Beach Hospital. She got a job at Long Beach Hospital after she finished school.
Okay. Now you're up in New York, and where do your interests lie? Are you like, I have to drum no matter what, or are you? Was your attention ever diverted?
No, because I eventually got with the school band.
Okay.
So I was in Uniondale, Turtle Hook, where I got on my first, you know, real set of drums to play behind. And I'll never forget that
Tell
time.
me about that.
That was, you remember Hawaii Five-0?
Oh, yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da. Well, that was my first song that I ever played on.
So you had to do that roll at the beginning of that.
Yeah,
tom roll.
Yeah, and that was my first experience, you know, professional, you know, like that with the stage band.
How old were you?
Ooh. That's been about 13, 14. Yeah.
Okay, so this is like...
Because I was in junior high school.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in junior high school. And
it's like 1971, 72.
Yeah, somewhere around that area.
All right, so you're just like, you start off with the school band.
Yeah, and everybody was amazed how well I could play the set of drums.
Were you amazed?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. Yes, I was. Kind of scared. Oh, yeah, well, I was kind of scared, you know, playing towards all them people on a set of drums. Yeah, it was fear in me.
It seems like the type of moment, though, that where your fate is kind of sealed.
Yeah.
Like, I can do this.
Right. Exactly. And then, you know, my peers, they encouraged me a lot. Joe, you sound good. Oh, yeah. Oh, you gonna play? Yeah, I said, yeah, I'll play it.
So you learn that, like, oh, I can play well. People kind of like are...
Right, exactly.
They get kind of impressed.
That's right.
Like,
that's right.
The girls are like kind of, oh, Joe.
Yeah, that was back in Uniondale. Yeah.
So were you like a dedicated jazz kid back then, or were you like, I'll play whatever, or what did you want to play back then?
Play whatever.
Okay.
Because it was a thing where I've learned how to play the set also by putting my headphones on. And whatever music I'm playing, just like I told you, I used to check out the albums out Then there's a rhythm and blues song I tried to play behind. No, I didn't try it. I did it. I didn't try it. I did it.
Right.
Yeah.
What were some of the drummers? Do you remember any of the drummers that you like were interested in back then, or anybody?
Billy Cobham and Max Roach. Yeah, and well, obviously my uncles and my grandfather, and Buddy Rich.
Okay. Anybody on the more kind of soul or R&B side?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because this is a album I used to listen at. Put my headphones on, listening to that. Is Ray Charles, Newport Jazz. I think his name was Wilbert Hogan.
I don't recall.
I think his name was Wilbert Hogan. So I used to play behind that. Yeah, put that album on and go to work.
Okay, so how long did you end up staying in New York?
6 years, because I came back to New Orleans only with a paper bag on the road. 76, because I had my last year of high school here in New Orleans.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have a photo of you graduating high school.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me, yeah.
See if they can get that.
Yeah. George Washington Carver.
It's a nice smile. Look at all that hair.
Oh, yeah, you want to see a picture when I was in New York?
Oh, certainly.
Okay, you let me know when you're ready. This picture here. My father used to have a lot of dances and stuff. That's me when I was in New York.
So you were around 17 or so?
Yeah. It's funny. I was allowed in a lot of clubs that...
Yeah, you look like...
Yeah, because I had a mustache and a sideburn.
Yeah.
Yep. I was able to go into a lot of places.
Right.
Where normally you wasn't able to go to. But by me having that older look with the mustache and the sideburns.
You look younger now.
Thank you. Yeah.
So what? Okay, so you play drums. With your junior and high school band.
My junior high school band. Exactly.
Was there ever a point that you were that you thought, oh, I'll just go do something else professionally and be a drummer on the side, or was being a drummer?
Well, I athlete.
Okay.
So I was that. I set a record.
Oh, what
100-yard dash.
Oh.
I think I set 100-yard dash. 10-9, I think it was.
Okay. School record.
Yeah. Set the school record. Yeah.
So what then? It sounds like it's a relatively happy and fun life up there in New York.
It really was. It really was.
What made you decide, or what kind of pushed you towards coming back here to New Orleans?
The music, man. Definitely the music. Obviously, your parents didn't want you to leave.
Right.
And I'll never forget, I hate to say this, but me and my father kind of came to blows a couple of times because I wanted to come back to New Orleans. So finally they let me go back. And one of my relatives was visiting us in New York, and I had a brown paper bag and headed back to New Orleans.
You just went back with them?
Yeah, with one of my relatives.
And that was the summer before your senior year of high school?
Exactly. Wow, that's right.
What made you think that what you needed to find could only be found here?
Oh man, that's a good question, man. I don't know. It's just by me listening to those Al Hurt and Pete Fountain, I just felt something in that music. Even though it was Al Hurt and Pete Fountain, it still affiliated with me with it still affiliated me with the New Orleans sound.
Right.
And then with mixing that particular jazz with the gospel, I wanted it to come out of me. But I wouldn't be able to find it in New York, in the New Orleans jazz.
So what did you do when you got here? This is probably 76?
76.
Okay.
76, 77.
That's your senior year at what school?
George Washington Carver.
Okay. For the people who are watching, where is that?
That's in the Upper Nine.
Okay.
Upper Ninth Ward, around, where was that? Around Louisa, around by the train tracks.
Oh yeah.
Around that
Oh yeah.
area.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
around that area. Yes, and so my grandmother and them had to take custody, stuff, so they had to sign me in school and stuff like that.
So were you back living in the lower 9 and just
My grandmother.
Okay, taking the bus every day?
Every day, right. Exactly. And then, just so happened, my father's offspring child was the band director at Carver.
Well, your father's.
My grandfather's
Okay.
child.
Okay.
Offspring.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just
she was the band director. Her name was Yvonne Bush.
Okay.
Yeah, her name was Yvonne Bush, and she knew who I was.
So that's your.
I'm a Lastie.
That's your aunt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So she definitely knew. She kept it on the down low, but she put me in the band, in the marching band.
Oh, okay.
So I was able to go into marching band at the George Washington Carver.
Oh, so this is your first. You come back to New Orleans and you get into like a school marching band,
Exactly.
which is kind of a like just a milestone for a lot of musicians here.
Exactly.
In New Orleans, like they all can kind of. Anybody who's like raised up here can. I was in that marching band.
That's right.
I played trombone there. I played snare there. What were you playing?
I was playing the tenor drum.
Okay. Yeah.
The tenor drum. I was playing that. She made a spot for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it controversial at all? Like kind of
No.
This guy comes in senior year and immediately gets a spot in the marching band.
No, they seen what I could play.
Okay.
They seen what I could play.
And
yeah, but I remember going to the I was scared as hell.
Right.
Because just like you say, I never experienced that before. This is my first time coming back to New Orleans, and I'm jumping right into a marching, band like this, and going on the field with the, all the rotations and all the things like that. I never experienced that before.
Did anybody else in the band, were they suspicious of you, or just kind of because you would come back from from New York?
Yeah, but then they found out that I really was a professional musician. So out of that class, I was the only one still playing professional music through the years. And they did recognize that at the end.
So you must have did the band march in any parades that next year?
Well, marching parades. Their big thing was I'm gonna tell you what their big thing was, the high school football.
Okay.
And the drum line. So it was a time when the drums had their time to shine on the field. Oh shit, I was nervous. I was so nervous I messed up. You know how they be rocking?
Right.
Well, the band went that way, and I went yeah.
Did you ever live it down?
No, I never lived that down until today. Yeah.
Do you remember what you were playing? Do you remember?
No, because it was
just
actually a drum line performance.
So was it just that were you playing like some cadence?
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
They dancing and moving around.
So you're not
At this particular time, the band went one way, the drum line, they went one way, and I went the other way. I said, oh, shit. I'm already nervous.
Well, hopefully you recovered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's your senior year, and you've played you've been in you've done the football stuff.
So you did the Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras.
Parades,
Was this the first your first Mardi Gras season ever playing in a band?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me what that was like in 1977.
The only thing I can remember is the crowd. That's what I can remember that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember like what parades you were in or anything like that?
Endymion, I do remember the Endymion.
Okay, okay.
Around that time. I got to cut you with that because, like I told you, during the time when I was in that particular school, I still was kind of playing professional because it was a place where I used to go try to get some musical advice. A place called Academy of Black Art on Dyer Street.
Dryads and what?
It was the YMCA.
Okay.
It was a YMCA, and it was a guy named Willie Metcalf. And that's where Winton, Branford, Terrence, and all of them went. Well, anyways, these people hired me.
High school senior.
Yeah, to play for a parade on the float. And who you think played with me? Branford.
Oh. So what is it? What is this place? Tell me about this place.
It was dedicated to young musicians that was coming up, just like a NOCA.
Okay, okay.
Some a small time NOCA for the musicians. I remember I used to catch 3 buses to get there. Yeah, I remember I used to catch them. That was during my high school time. And matter of fact, that was another place where I was able to do my first job. Was paying $5.
Okay.
The gig pay. It was at what's the name of the place? I can't think of the place now.
Lost to history.
Yeah, no, it's gonna come to me when you least expect it. It's gonna come to me. But that's where I first played my first gig with this particular Academy of Black Arts. Willie Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you would take classes there, or just...
Yeah, you know, he had a stage band.
Okay.
He had a stage band, and they're teaching kids how to sing. You know, he had singing groups and jazz. There'd be a lot of bebop. It wasn't the traditional jazz now. It was the straight ahead jazz.
Right.
Like A Train and Green Dolphin Street, different stuff like that. So that's where I got a chance to hear and try to play the real straight ahead jazz. That was my first experience of that. Lou and Charlie's.
Lou and Charlie's?
The name of the place is Lou and Charlie's.
Okay.
That was my first paid job. $5.
Okay.
I told you it was gonna come back to me.
Where was Lou and Charlie?
It was on Esplanade. It was a club.
Okay.
His name was Charlie. He was responsible for a lot of nightclubs and stuff.
So Esplanade and what?
It's the Rampart.
Okay.
So around that area.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was around that area. Lou and Charlie's. I knew it would come to me.
So you graduated, obviously, and what did you do after that? Did you fall immediately into just?
I'm glad you asked that question.
Okay.
Just walking down the damn street, Bourbon Street. Yeah.
So we're walking down.
Yeah, I'm
you're
walking down Bourbon Street.
What time of year is it? Paint a picture for me. Is it hot? Is it are you broke?
It was hot. It was hot, and I was just walking down Bourbon Street, just to listen at the music, see what was going on down there. And I passed this place called just La Strada.
La Strada?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, the La Strada, and then I, seen Richard Payne and the girl and the singer and the piano, but they didn't have a drummer. I said, whoa. So Richard said, Joe, you want to play? You want to play? Well, come on, man, come on, play. So that wound up my first gig on Bourbon Street, just walking down the street, because they didn't have a drummer at the time, and I was experienced enough to hold a gig.
And it wasn't like, Joe, want to come play tomorrow? It was, Joe, do you want to
come? You got the gig.
Got in right now?
Joe, you got the gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the gig.
Come inside.
You got the gig.
If you were going somewhere else,
so
you're not going there
that goes to
anymore.
show you how much respect they had for me back then as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
You get that?
Yeah. They kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Back
And
then.
So how long did you have that gig?
I say about 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 months with that gig.
And what were you playing?
That gig I was playing like a Sarah Vaughan, because it was a singer.
Okay.
I forgot her name. Yeah, it was a singer that was doing a lot of standards.
Okay.
She was doing a lot of standards.
And how many days a week and how many hours was this?
Ooh, this gig, it was like 5 hours.
Starting?
Yeah, well, it was just some weekends, three times a week.
So, if you're like any other musician I know, you're like, oh, I've got this gig. I need 3 or 4 more now. What? How did you get into more stuff?
Okay, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. When you're young, you're still trying to find your way. I got a job. I don't know if you're familiar with New Orleans hot sausage, Patton's. That used to be in the Lower Ninth Ward, and he was friends with my grandfather. I worked there for a little bit, just to try to find my way, making the sausage and stuff. I did that, and that was right down the street from my grandmother's and them house. So I was able to walk down there to work, and so that was one part of my life that, trying to find yourself.
So you get some money too,
right?
So exactly. You literally know, like the saying goes, you know how the sausage gets made.
Exactly. That's right.
All right.
Exactly. I made it. Yeah, I did make it.
But at one point, you decided either sausage or drums. You said, I can either be a sausage man or I can be a drum man.
Now let's go back. We're going back to that time again. I was invited to play with this particular choir, Desire Community Choir. All is still around it between the 76 and 77, 78, around that time. I was invited to play with this choir. We called the Desire Community Choir. And
how did they find you?
Good question. One of my nephew, dad, he used to sing with the choir, and he asked me to come to one of their rehearsals.
Okay.
And I went to one of their rehearsals, and then I got on the drums, and the choir director liked it the way I played, so that's how I got that gig.
And if I'm not mistaken, was that your first ever recording that you made, or with them? Or
There's 2 things happened there.
Okay.
My first time ever leaving the city playing music. We went to Los Angeles.
Oh, in 77 or 78 or?
Around 78.
Okay.
Around 78. That was my first time ever leaving, going on a job. Traveling.
Right.
And I traveled with the Desire Community Choir to Los Angeles.
To do what?
Perform, at the different churches and festivals.
Oh, does anything stand out in your memory of like, anything stand out in your memory, like any place you performed, anybody you performed with, or any choirs?
The main one who stand out, Raymond Miles.
Okay.
Raymond Miles was on that gig with us, and he was a monster. I don't know if you heard of him.
Well, tell me about him.
He's Raymond Miles. I grew up with Raymond Miles because his mother was a singer, and oh man, he was an awesome organ player and singer.
I see you have a photo of the choir.
Oh yeah. But like I said, Raymond Miles was one of my memories of that trip to Los Angeles. We was on the bus. It took us 2 days to go.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So that was officially one of my first time traveling. My first time away from home is with the Desire Community Choir. And on that note, it also was my first time with Desire Community Choir. Was one of my first recording. First time I ever was being recorded was with Desire Community Choir.
And I see you have a photo of this.
This here was the cover of the album.
What was the name of the album? Thank You, Lord.
The name. This is a collaboration on all the album that he did.
It's a compilation.
Yeah,
of all,
exactly.
Okay.
But this was the album that I was on. The Alvin Bridges in the Desire Community Choir.
Okay.
That was the name of it. And the name of it was Thank You, Lord,
Okay.
in the Desire Community Choir. This was one of my first recording.
Right.
I was nervous about that too.
Yeah.
I was nervous about that too. But there we go again. Back then, they had faith in me to do the recording session. They could have used anybody, but they did use me to do this session.
And also probably not too much time to be nervous. Like you gotta
Right.
Exactly. Like, yeah, we don't have time for you to sit there and be afraid.
Right. And then I think if you can see, let me see. No, I don't have it, because the drums that I had, they had, the holes was out of the bottom of it.
Right.
You have to put a pillow.
Right.
Pillow in the bass drum.
Can we see the cover of this?
Yeah. Oh, you want to hold it? Yeah. Yep, that was the choir. And if you notice, the choir robes and stuff, because the choir's home base was right around the corner from Carver.
Okay. Oh, okay. Fantastic.
So, and this is Carver's colors.
Ah.
Green and gold, yeah. Yeah, that was, Yep, that was Carver's color.
And I think right now we have if you want to check this out, we have a song you played on this particular record.
And guess what? That was my mother's favorite song that we're about to play. She used to play that day in and day out.
Right, what's
for
the name
this particular, Too Close.
Too Close.
Yeah.
Right, let me try to steal.
I'm too close to my journey's end. I'm too close to turn back into a world of sin. I won't take nothing for my journey right now. Lord, I got to make it in a heaven somehow. Lord, I'm so close. I could almost reach my goal. That's too close for finally saving my soul. And I know I'm to heaven. I won't turn around. Oh no, I can't turn around. Now wait a minute. I got one more thing I want to tell you. Listen here, Lord Jesus. I'm so close. I could almost see my God face. That's too close. I tell this new world I left that man's grave, but I won't take nothing for my journey right now. I told the Lord I'm gonna make it in the heaven somehow. Lord, I'm so close. close, I could almost reach those pearly white gates, and I know I'm too close. I'm too close. Every time I think about it, if you just give me a few minutes right now, I want to view heaven for you just a little while.
Mm-hmm.
If I could just see.
Yep, all those musicians on there was under 20 years old. Yep, all those musicians was under 20 years old.
Really?
That was Mark Brooks in Detroit on guitar. Yeah, and all of us was like under 20 years old when we did that. And the organ player, his name was Isidore. Yeah. And you know that I really gives me chills to listen at it because the way I played it, you know, with the open hi-hat.
Yeah, like the.
Yeah, a lot of drummers wasn't doing that. And it was just amazed that I was
That's kind
doing
of
that like
forward
that.
thinking, kind of very.
Right.
Yeah, as my Aunt Annette from Bogalusa would say, you guys put your foot in it.
Yeah, you definitely, you know.
Yeah, you really kind of you did it. You
Yeah,
kinda hit it.
that was my first recording ever.
Not bad for a first time.
Yeah.
So you obviously didn't play with the Desire Chorus forever, though. When did you? At the same time you were playing with them, you were playing more secular gigs, so to speak. So tell me more about what else you were playing around town after like this gig you found on Bourbon Street, doing the kind of like the standards, Sarah Vaughan-esque ballads, things like that.
Exactly.
What else were you involved in?
Boom. Fats Domino son. Name was Antoine Jr. He was in this group called Creole Cooking, and they was playing at August out on the lakefront.
Okay.
And I used to play with them at that time.
What sort of band was Creole Cooking?
It was a rhythm and blues, rhythm and blues band, and that was around 80 something. I was with them, but there's something else that I did before that era. If we could talk, I could remember.
Okay.
You know.
So, 78, you're playing with the Desire Community Chorus. You're playing with the band on
Bourbon Street.
On Bourbon Street.
Right.
You are not quite yet going into Creole Cooking.
Exactly.
Where there's not like what's not in there. There's not a lot of jazz in there. Like what we're talking about. There's not a lot of
exactly.
Like, when did you start getting back into kind of playing? Or start getting into playing jazz stuff or older pre-war jazz?
No, I did have a band.
Okay.
Around that time called the name of my damn band was It was a New Orleans sound.
Okay.
And I played some jobs at the jazz when they first opened up this place down the street there. The brewery, Jack's Brewery.
Okay.
Yeah, I played some jobs there. One of the guys hired me to play jazz there. And really my first experience with the New Orleans jazz was with my uncle, David, the saxophone.
Okay.
He had this group named The Taste of New Orleans. And that's where my first experience of the New Orleans jazz style, like, is with him.
Right.
And then from there, I kind of moved on to this singer she named Banu Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
I played with Banu Gibson, and I learned a lot of jazz with her.
I work with her son-in-law.
Really?
Yeah.
And
So tell me about that.
And I'm about to tell you now, I got criticized with that, with my uncles. Yeah, for playing with Banu.
Well,
Because they
why?
wanted me to play the New Orleans, you know, the traditional New Orleans. But with Banu, you know, she was doing that Betty Boo and stuff like that.
Right.
But it still was the jazz that you really need to learn. Because she used to do this, I'll never forget this tune called The Chant and stuff like that. Yeah, and you know, Mama's Gone Goodbye. You know, different songs like that.
Right.
It wasn't standard New Orleans traditional music, but it still was traditional
era.
jazz. Yeah,
that era, that kind of.
Right, and I learned a lot of jazz songs with Banu Gibson. But like I said, I got criticized for playing with her.
What would they say to you? What would they say to you? Do you remember?
Yeah, like I was selling out. I was going to play this music here. That the music that Banu was doing,
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, it's a slightly novelty, but it's still, I guess, it's still legitimate.
Exactly. Then you know, sometime I still had to read too. Some of Banu, because Banu had some charts. So I still had to kind of sight read with that a little bit. And so that came into hand when I was in New York learning how to read their music again.
Were a lot of your contemporaries here not sight readers, the drummers?
No, they wasn't. No, they wasn't.
So you kind of had a leg up then.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could transition to bands
Exactly.
like that, kind of.
Exactly, yes. You know, playing, that's what I'm saying. I learned a lot with Banu, playing with Banu Gibson's band. And then during that time, too, like I said, I was still playing with my uncles, too. Playing the other music, 'cause that's why, you know, he didn't like me playing that music with Banu.
Did he think it like it? I mean, not only is he saying like they're saying maybe you're kind of selling out. Was it taking away time from those bands? Like, were you skipping gigs with your uncle's bands?
No. It's, how could I explain this? I guess Banu band was classified as a
I would say it.
Uncle Tom or
Yeah.
something.
It's like you're playing with that white lady
yeah,
over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And but little did they know, I learned a lot.
Right.
I really did.
That's interesting. Did you ever get any resolution to that with your uncles? Were you ever able to explain to them, like, you know,
No.
she's
No, never did. Never did. So I must say, never did.
It's interesting. Like I know when you mentioned her, I figured, oh, there's gonna be a racial dynamic here.
Exactly.
There's gonna be
Yeah, because man, it was time when I was the only black dude in the festivals that we went to.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I never forget when we went to Friday Harbor. I went to Banu. I went on the road with Banu, too.
Okay.
So to Friday Harbor, Vancouver, British Columbia. I was the only black there in the festivals.
In a jazz festival.
Yes.
You're the only black man.
Yes. Yes. So I felt proud, really. You know, and they didn't make me feel uncomfortable or nothing. Everybody treated me right. There wasn't no racial thing going on there.
What year was that?
Dude, I want to say around 82.
Right. Do you think
82?
that's interesting? Do you think there was any like sort of feeling like some of the white players thinking like we got to get some more black people up in here?
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
kind
Oh
of
yeah.
this is a bad
did
look.
tell me that. They did tell me that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, where are the black musicians? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm glad you asked me that. Yeah, they did ask me that a couple of times. Yeah. And down the line, I was rooming with Tom Saunders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was nice. It was good. And I never got any kind of feeling of racial. Only thing I got that feeling is one time. You remember when the Jerry curls was out?
Oh yeah.
Well, I had a Jerry curl.
Ugh.
And I remember you used to have the plastic bag over your head. And that was the only time. One time they came to me and said, "Here, your shower cap." I said, "Oh, shit." That's the only time, poking fun at you, because they had the shower cap over your head for your Jerry curl. But that was the only time.
I'm sure you remember this, the Jerry curl. Like, when the Jerry curl was popular, I was riding the bus around a lot in Los Angeles, where I grew up. And there'd always be that guy on the bus, the Jerry Curl, who fell asleep and put his head against the glass.
Yeah.
They get up and there's that.
Early, yeah, I remember those days.
So,
yeah.
Jericho. I can't get behind that. I'm sorry. I just got to shake my head at you.
Yeah.
But, you know, you do some things.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're playing with Banu and you're playing with your uncles.
And I played with, like I say, Fats Domino.
Right. So you always got like a lot of things going on. Like this is the early '80s now. Mm-hmm. When did you first start coming around here at the hall?
I didn't start coming here. I had a gig on Bourbon Street.
Okay. Okay, this one?
Yeah. This is my gig that I had on Bourbon Street. This was at the Maison Bourbon, right down the street.
Okay.
Name was Wallace Davenport.
Can you tell us who's who in the band there?
Well, that's me. Who that? That's Lloyd Lambert, Lawrence Cotton. He playing with us now. He's like 90 now. Lawrence Cotton now. And that's Wallace Davenport. He passed away. He was a lead trumpet. And I forget his name. And that was me. We won the during French Quarter Festival. They used to have challenge, band challenge, and this was the year that we won.
Tell me about what was the band challenge like? Was it like an old school cutting contest, or like a
well?
What would you do in the challenge?
We play a song, and then the next band play a song. If you could picture in the middle of the street there on Bourbon and St. Peter, the middle of the street, one band would be on that side of St. Peter, another band would be on this side of St. Peter, the other band would be on Bourbon Street on that side, then the other band would be on that side. So each band would play something, and that's the challenge there. So see which band would sound the best or who would get the most applause.
How many songs did you guys end up playing? Just one?
Maybe 3 songs.
So would it get faster, and would people just like be
showing up? Wallace was a fast playing trumpet player. Yeah, he was playing.
So yes, I want to hear more about that. Describe this to me. So let's say like a band plays right before you. Mm-hmm. Would you know what you were going to play, or would you like respond to what they were playing and go, okay, let's play this?
No, Wallace had his repertoire.
Okay.
What he was going to do, because he knew it was going to work. He knew it was going to work, but the other bands, they had their little repertoire. What they normally do. It'll always be your best.
Okay.
Whatever best song that you do. I remember Wallace had just before rap started. Wallace used to have a rap song.
Oh.
So you picture this guy rapping to New Orleans jazz. It's called Muskrat Ramble.
Right.
And I used to hear the Muskrat Ramble, rambling around. You just imagine him rapping to that. And then when we was doing Muskrat Ramble, rambling around, big fat tail, grabbing the town. And then right after you finish all that, then I'll go into the jazz. You know. So, but I was one of the only one that could do that too.
Right.
Because, coming up on Long Island again.
Yeah,
I got a lot of rap influence.
I mean, if you're Long Island at that time, I mean, you're hearing like all the proto hip hop.
Exactly.
That's coming out of like the Bronx.
Exactly.
And stuff. Like all your friends in school are probably.
Right.
It's not quite hip hop yet, but it's what's gonna be hip hop.
Right.
And
I hate to jump back.
No, please.
But I was, going on Long Island. We was in Uniondale. My aunt and them used to stay in Freeport. And Flavor from Public Enemy. We was all raised together. Flavor was crazy about my sister.
I'm sorry. I think you have
Oh yeah.
You have this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Flavor, he grew up between Roosevelt and Freeport. Mm-hmm. And he was friends with my cousin, but he was really crazy about my sister. And my sister told him this: I don't want you with your ugly ass. I don't want you. I don't get away from me. So he in return told her, you gonna wish you had been with me because I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna make it, and you gonna wish you had been with me. I want to be with me. And look at today.
Yeah. Well, what does your sister say now?
Oh Lord, she still, that son of a bitch still ugly.
He's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's still ugly. Yeah. But I think deep down she's still proud of him.
Yeah. He got it from the neighborhood.
Yeah. We was raised. We used to go to parties a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Waistline parties.
What do you mean?
Back then,
Waistline.
You used to take your waist, and if it's 28 cents, it'd be 28 cents.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. That's what they call waistline party.
So, how much would it cost you today?
Oh, today it would cost me...
Inflation.
Yeah. Well, right now it'll cost me, what, 36?
Okay. Back then?
Back then, no, it would have been 20. I think I remember 28.
Okay.
But 2 years ago, it'd have been 50.
Oh, well.
Yes, I was big. Yeah, I lost a lot of weight.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
Waistline parties, then we got to bring those back.
Yeah. But I was affiliated with rap,
mm-hmm.
and also still trying to play the raps, And I got to mention too, during the time I was in New York, my mother in the bedroom, that same pearl drums,
mm-hmm.
managed to get them up there. They used to sit at the foot of my parents' bed. I used to practice at the foot of their bed. They was going to work, but
Do you know whatever happened to that drum set?
The storm, man.
Right.
Yeah. It got old.
Yeah.
Time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before we were talking about you guys are having the contests over here.
Right.
On Bourbon, and you win.
We
win.
We win.
And it sounds like it would probably by the third song. It sounds like it'd probably be getting pretty hot out there.
Yeah.
People kind of like, the third song.
Fast,
You're gonna we're gonna really.
I think it was Tiger Rag.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Tiger Rag that Wallace played that really. Well, but he usually we already knew he was gonna win. And I'm sorry to say that, but
You're not sorry.
Yeah, we was gonna win it anyway, because that's just what kind of band we had. That was a hot band.
Right.
It was a hot band.
So this is the '80s now. Kind of around what year is this?
85 on that time. What did it say that year?
I think.
I can't see that.
I think it says 19. There's a 1984, 1988 on there.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe one in 84 or 84 and 88. I don't know.
Yeah, around that time. Yeah. Right.
But so before then, you hadn't really been. Had you been hanging around here at all? Like, what was your
hall?
Yeah, what was your perception of the hall?
Okay. What I always, like I told you, when I was growing up in Long Island, I used to see them.
Right.
And then here, when I was down there, I used to come down here and see the old men play. Never thought I would be, because I was too young.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought I would be playing in here. But I used to listen at them a lot. Mr. Willie, Mr. Percy, and Mr. Prevost, and the bass player I used to be crazy about, Chester Zordis. That's when I was introduced to the Preservation Hall musician, which was Saeed Frazier and Frank Parker, and the drummer who plays I wound up taking Freddie Coleman.
Okay.
Yeah, I wound up taking his place. But where I really was introduced to Preservation Hall when I was playing the gig on the Mediterranean Cafe on Decatur Street. You know where the Punk?
Yeah.
Well, it used to be a sit-down gig with that. And I used to play there with Leroy sometimes, but it was Greg Stafford's gig. And I used to play that with that. But I forgot to mention something. Can I mention it?
Oh, please. You can mention whatever you want to mention.
Okay, it was also a time when I was affiliated with the French Market Jazz Band, which was Scotty Hill. And we used to play on the corner of Royal and St. Peter in the street, which is called Throw Me Something, Mister.
Yeah.
That's what we used to call it. But anyway, for tips and stuff. But I learned a lot out there on that street, on that corner there. So just like you see the bands playing now, well, I did that.
Right.
And I'm proud to say I did that, you know. And I'm also kind of, it touches me a little bit because on the same corner, my uncle Papi Walter, the drummer, he was playing there with the band, and he passed away. Playing When the Saints Go Marching In.
On the street?
On the street. That's right.
If you got to go.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was that?
Oh, man. Ooh. Jeez. It's got to be around the 80s. It had to be around the 80s. Yeah, but he was playing the drums When the Saints Go Marching In, and he collapsed and had a heart attack and died. But I still, you know, say that's where I come from too, the street. So I paid my dues there, playing music on the street.
Oh. And so in 1988, whatever.
Oh,
okay.
Yes. In 1988, I was playing with Greg Stafford at the Mediterranean Cafe, and Miss Jaffe, because Greg was a drummer, the trumpet player. He was a drummer. So Miss Jaffe had a nurse to ask him to come play drums at the hall. So he said, "No, Miss Jaffe, I can't do that." I said, "But I have a drummer that might can do it. Not Mike, can do it." So he mentioned my name, and she called me. And that's when I started with Preservation Hall, and with the Kid Sheik's band. That's the first band I played with, was Kid Sheik's band.
And you would have been 29, 30 years old then.
Exactly, you're right, and you're hitting it on the button. Yep, I was the youngest musician playing here.
And how did that, was it, tell me about how.
Man, I learned a lot, especially with Mr. Willie, Mr. Percy. If I'm doing something, they'll turn back and, you know, put that bass drum, because the bass drum meant a lot. They say, "Nah, yeah, I'll never forget that hand, kept doing that." And then lots of times they couldn't hear too good. So a couple of times I had to play a little louder, you know, so they could hear. And the press roll, they was crazy about my press roll, because I kept it Cy Frazier style. I tried to do a Cy Frazier style plus maybe a Joe Lastie song, but I try to stick to the pattern that the drummers that they used to hearing. I tried to stick. I did stick to that pattern.
We're gonna get to that press roll in a bit. I'm gonna have you sit behind the drums and show the future generations exactly what that is, so they can because we hope that maybe 100 years from now, somebody's gonna be viewing this video and wishing that I would shut up, that you would just keep talking, but they're also gonna want to be able to see the actual man play the actual thing, give it a name, and say this is what you what you need. So you're coming in 30 years old, and you're the young Turk.
Exactly right.
Here, and
it was amazing. It was an honor and a challenge, and plus it was amazing, because like I say, I was growing up listening to this band and never dreamed I would be playing. Well, I never dreamt I would be playing with them when I was down the street, you know, with Wallace. You know, I thought I was too young. Yeah, it's amazing.
And now, this has been probably your most consistent gig for the last
27 years.
27 years. This has been. Did you ever think that you were going to be kind of signing on for?
Well, come on, you do the math. The oldest musician was 90 years old. So if I'm in the band, I'll be up till I'm 90 years old. Yeah. Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Guess what? Mentioning that, somebody washed that window right there.
Right.
If you could look at it, You can see the bottom down there?
Yeah.
And look at that window there.
Oh.
And look at this. Somebody washed this. Called themselves trying to clean it. Got fired. Because they wanted to leave it like that. And if you could see, that's what you see. You're saying something and bring back memories to me. But yeah, somebody got fired for cleaning the windows because they wanted to preserve it, which is preservation hall, is preserve everything, walls, everything like it is. They wanted to preserve the windows like they are now. And somebody had the nerve to try to clean it. And you could see where they
right.
try to clean it.
When do you know when that happened? When did that clean happen?
That clean happened about early 90s. Early 90s. I'll never forget Betty Carter, yeah.
What?
Yeah, her name is Betty Carter. Yep, she tried to wash those.
The woman who washes Betty Carter, she got fired?
Yeah.
I wonder what old Betty Carter's up to right now.
She passed away. She passed. Her son was a hell of a drummer.
Okay.
Here in New York, because he was another one used to listen to Saeed Frazier. Oh, shoot, what's his name was? Yeah, but her son was a hell of a drummer. I mean, and he idolized the New Orleans drummer, which is Saeed Frazier and Frank Parkin, and he played just like him. Right. I can't really think of his name yet, but it'll come to me. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me we could have a whole nother interview about your time just here at the hall, but tell me some of your
fondest
memories of being here over the last 27 years. Like
traveling.
Like you had that taste of it in the Desire Community course.
Right.
Like you're like, oh, went out to L.A., had a good time.
Yeah. But the highlight was traveling with Preservation Hall.
What was your first big trip with the hall?
I must say Israel. In my eyesight, it was Israel. We was invited to go to the Red Sea Festival in Eilat. And Miss Jaffe's mother came with us. So Risa was the manager at the time. Mm-hmm. So it was Risa and her mother. So that was one of my fondest memories of Miss Jaffe, mother, coming with us on that trip. And that particular trip, you had,
Around what year was that?
It had to have been in 90, 94, 95, somewhere around there. That particular trip, sometimes you have time off. They give you, you do go there for the festival, you stay there 3-4 days, and you maybe have 1 or 2 days off. Well, they gave you an opportunity to go to wherever you want. So we had a chance to go to either Jerusalem or Egypt. I chose Jerusalem. So I think me going to Jerusalem into the Wailing Walls, man, I had a lot of stuff I brought back. We lost it in the storm. I had pictures and of Jerusalem and different artifacts and stuff from Jerusalem. I lost all of that in the storm. That was one of my highlights of traveling with Preservation Hall, is being able to go to Jerusalem.
Where were you living during the storm?
In the Lower Ninth Ward on Andrew Street.
So you were still around around where you grew up?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was still over there. Yeah. Yes, I was. And it was a time, traveling with Preservation Hall Band, as you know, I was the youngest. Mm-hmm. And, it was a time where I had to help take care of those old men. I had to carry their luggage, make sure they get something to eat, or go get them something to eat.
Right.
Stuff like that. I never forget one time, one of them didn't want to fly. We was carrying, just like Chicago to Detroit.
Right.
He didn't want to fly. I said, oh, Lord. So I volunteered to drive him from Chicago to Detroit. So different stuff like that.
Who was it?
James Prevost. Yeah.
You have any memories of the drive itself?
Yeah, it was cool.
Okay. It wasn't like during the middle of winter, was it?
No.
Okay.
No, that was no. No, but I had to help take care of those, the older musicians, because it was like in the 80s and 90s then, man. You know, I was, what, in my 30s? Wow, that was a blessing to me, you know, just to play with these musicians that played with maybe Louis Armstrong in that era and stuff, you know. I had a chance to really play with those.
And not to, do you see that sort of thing, that sort of tradition being continued now? Nowadays, do you make Clint carry all your stuff?
I'm glad you asked that, because I don't know if you're familiar with this particular drummer named Joe Dyson. He's a badass. Oh, he was a badass. Anyway, this kid won't carry my drums. If I'm going on a gig, Mr. Lastie, I got it, I have it. Now, this kid is a monster. He's a monster, but he wants to carry my drums, carry anything I need for him to carry. I say, man, I should be carrying your stuff.
How old is he?
Oh, Joe got to be about 23, 24.
Oh, yeah. Make him carry your shit.
Yeah, but it's just the respect he had for me. And you know where a lot of drummers had got so much respect for me for playing down at Mason Bourbon down there with Wallace Davenport. They used to come stand on the corner and watch me play. From Raymond Weber, Russell, Baptiste, he's another one, Jelly Bean. They all used to come down there. To today, they come down there. If they see me down there, they come in. They come in and watch. So I influenced a lot of drummers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did.
Do you find it, I mean, does it give you hope and does it hearten you to know that not only that sort of respect, but that sort of...
passing the torch?
The passing the torch, it's still going on.
Exactly, right. That's the way I feel. And it makes me feel good that at least they have someone that they can look up to say, oh, I want to be like that, because that's the way I was with my siblings and my, you know, like Max Rose or whatever, and my uncles and stuff. And I said, ooh, I want to be like that. So I'm glad I'm able to let the musician, let the drummer see that in me, that, oh, wow, I want to be like that. I want to play like that. And I find out some of the things they do, and I say, oh, that sounds like Joe Lastie. Yeah.
So do you sometimes I despair. I think, oh, is this going to end one day? Is this going to like kind of fade away? But it feels like you have some hope for the...
Yeah, because, matter of fact, I have this little kid. He's very interested in, this is Glenn Andrew. He's really interested in learning the traditional style, you know, with the press roll and with the New Orleans traditional jazz. He's really interested, because it's a funny thing, you know, a lot of these musicians, young musicians, they think the brass band is the shit. Yeah. It's cool, but we need them to come in here and sit down to play. And that's where I'm trying to reach these kids now. Because today, I play with some of those guys. And I tell them, I kind of encourage them, say, ooh, you sound good. Y'all playing that traditional music. I say, yeah, we playing that traditional music. I say, y'all keep it up, because we need y'all, you know, to follow us, you know.
My 11-year-old, who you were hanging out with at the Kennedy Center a couple years ago, he's been bugging me for drum lessons.
Right.
So I guess I'll be calling you.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to start winding it down right now. I want to ask you two things. Freddie's going to come in. He's going to he's going to be like talking. I'm going to ask you two more questions. Like one, we sit down for the first one. The second one, we're going to move over to the drum set.
Okay.
Just for posterity's sake, you know, there's a community among a lot of you musicians. Before you go on the stage, you kick back on stage, drink your coffee. You guys are always cutting up. Always. Like,
oh, yeah, having fun?
Tell me a joke.
Oh, Lordy.
I know you know one. I know you know a lot.
Well, you know the quickest way to a man's heart, huh?
What's that?
His stomach.
All right.
Yeah, and then what goes on between closed doors, nobody knows but the nose. So, Lordy, man, you put me on the spot there.
Yeah, I know.
Cause see, I'm a bad boy. See, stuff just come out of me stuff I don't rehearse.
Right. Yeah, you just speak extemporaneously. Just kind of like, oh, yeah.
Something that just comes out. But yeah, I'm usually the life of the party sometimes.
Well, how about this? Why don't we get you behind the drum set right now? You can.
Can I?
Oh,
just
yeah,
quick.
please.
Some of my memories of Preservation Hall, me being mentioned in the Rolling Stone magazine with the Foo Fighters.
All right.
Yeah, I thought.
How did that make you feel?
Dude, it made me feel, in a respectable way, honored to be mentioned in the Rolling Stone magazine. Wow.
Here we go. Is that something that you would have? All right. Here's the article. Let me scan it real quick.
Yeah.
A lot of words here. Okay.
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to read an excerpt from this. It's an article speaking to Dave Grohl about recording with the Foo Fighters. And here we go. In Nashville, he talked to country singers about that music's deep roots in the church. And in New Orleans, Grohl spoke to R&B authorities such as Alan Toussaint and Trombone Shorty, while the Foos played a riotous concert with the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, jamming on hits like This Is a Call with Crescent City Pepper. Quote, "We were hanging on for dear life with those guys," Foos drummer Taylor Hawkins confesses. "To have their drummer Joe Lastie next to me, playing the craziest upside-down stuff, I just tried to keep time. I wanted to hear him. I don't want Foo Fighters to turn into a Zydeco band. I like my Foo Fighters," Grohl contends, laughing. "But when Joe Lastie shows you the evolution of rhythm, or Cyril Neville tells you how a steamboat's paddle wheel influences the rhythm of the city, it's inevitable that it makes its way into what you do."
Right.
Wow. You're justifiably proud of it.
Yeah.
So that's a good transition.
Right.
Show us some of that upside down rhythm. And show us some of that press roll.
Yeah, I'm a jokester. Are we rolling?
Actually, can you play a little bit? Just. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Good gig, man.
Man, that goddamn. Where's Ricky? Who is Ricky? Yeah, right. Ricky, we was in the back in the dressing room, and they had a refrigerator. A refrigerator was short and it was electric. It would electrocute you. You know, it would shock you.
Right.
So Ricky said, "Oh man, Ricky, you my best friend, man. Reach out there and get me a soda out of the refrigerator." So when he reached in to get the soda, it shocked him. He said, "Oh," I knew it was gonna happen. He had his burnt hand.
Oh God, that's mean.
Yeah, no. Oh no, but we it was joke. Oh, all in joke.
No.
I know it's mean. I know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so throughout the interview, you mentioned more than a couple times your press roll.
Right.
And I think just for posterity's sake, for future generations, I want you to explain what the press roll is and then demonstrate it for us. And then perhaps show us a couple of licks, maybe that upside down rhythm that Taylor's talking about.
Right. Well, with the press roll, it's a roll. You know, you could do this. I could do this forever. But in the press roll, you break it up. You know. Yeah, that's the press roll. When you play, like For instance, oh, when the saints, and this the memory that I remember seeing my grandfathers do when they was playing when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints with listening to my grandfather just playing that press roll when the Saints go marching in. Then later down, I had opportunity to hear like a Saeed Frazier, and when they go with the cymbals. So when he do it. That's that Saeed Frazier pattern. That's that Saeed pattern that I stuck with. And try to not, I didn't want to get off to his pattern when he doing songs like that. All the slow songs. I still keep my press roll. Just a closer walk.
And I mean, I can hear the difference, but tell me if you can, articulate if you can, how that's different from. That's a very New Orleans thing, that, right? And that's different from a drummer anywhere else who'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna play you a drum roll. I'm gonna and I'm gonna be, it's gonna sound much heavier, like a regular, like a lot of drummers from other places. They play you a drum roll.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
but that press roll is much like
right, because see, at the tip of the tongue, I'm hitting it on this. So see, I'm closer to the and also my foot. That's the difference in that. Is up and you close as possible to the drum and take that part of the stick like that.
It's a world away.
Yeah.
So I guess we're almost out of time here. You want to take us out like a let's go out on an upside down rhythm, like whatever Taylor was talking about.
the bass drum, Taylor used to look at my feet a lot.
Right.
Because I be playing. I play a lot of bass drum. Sometimes they think I have a double bass drum sometimes when they hear me play. But I don't. That's just me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And if anything you need me to do, come back, just let me know.
All right. Fantastic. Yeah. So, Joe, there's also a connection between you and one of New Orleans' most famous sons right now.
Right.
Trombone Shorty. Can you tell me a little bit about that connection?
Oh, yeah. Trombone Shorty, his grandfather was Jesse Hills. That's the connection with me and Trombone Shorty. Jesse Hills was my grandmother's brother.
So he's your granduncle.
You're right. And you know what I forgot to mention? Mm-hmm. He was the one who introduced me to playing with Professor Longhair.
Oh.
Yes. Dude, we could go on and on. I'm sorry, but we can go on and on. But he's the one who introduced me to playing with Professor Longhair. I did play a gig with Professor Longhair at Tipitina's before it was even famous.
Right. What year was that?
Ooh, that was around that 78 time.
Okay. When he was like really coming back
and
really playing all the time.
Yeah, because Professor Longhair used to come, him and my uncle Jesse used to come by my aunt's house, and we have a little jam session. And that's how I got to play with Professor Longhair, man.
So in the lower 9th Ward, in the late 70s,
that's right.
Professor Longhair and Jesse Hill are coming by your aunt's house.
Right, exactly.
To just
hang out, play, and we have a jam session.
Can you, God, what would you play?
Hard Head,
mm-hmm.
and his famous song, Go to the Mardi Gras, different stuff like that, yeah. Sometimes we used to do my Uncle Jesse, Oop Oop Doo. Yeah.
That's, God, wish I had a photo of that.
Right.
What was it like playing with those two?
Oh, it was awesome because Professor had a thing where he hit hit the face of the piano.
Right.
When he was playing. Yeah.
He'd kick.
Yeah, he was
famous for kicking your piano.
Yeah, and that's where I got it. Now that's where I got my feelings from. That real New Orleans sound, that real second line, that real feeling. That's where I got that from. I must say, I learned a whole lot with that feeling with Professor Longhair.
So you owe your right foot to Professor Longhair.
Exactly.
Your bass drum foot.
Exactly.
It's all Professor Longhair?
Yeah, man. I forgot to mention that, but that was the one big part of my, music coming up with Professor Longhair and my Uncle Jesse Hill.
All right.
By my aunt's house. That was a big thing. Yep. And then, during that time, back then too, there was a guy named Leon Vaughn, used to play the organ. Mm-hmm. We all come up playing, listening at him in the churches. And it's something I want to preserve. No one recorded him or nothing till I recorded him. And I recorded him on Preservation Hall's album CD. He's deceased now. His name Leon Vaughn. And he's on my gospel CD. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to catch up him as we was be playing in church. And if you hear my CD, nothing rehearsed or nothing. I just played it, spiritual, let the spirit come in. And this guy, his name was, I'll call him my uncle, Leon Vaughn. He was on there, and I wanted to preserve his sound. And I was able to do it. And now I'm reaching out to his son to play with his son.
Oh, fantastic.
For the gospel thing.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Anything else in the pile you want to show us? We're good.
Well, I make a copy of my mother and father of a better picture with that. Yeah. Cause I have some more better pictures and stuff. That's about it. Well, I don't know about this here. We ain't sure that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.